Yeah, people, the third talk for tonight is going to be handled by Ridwan Tinubu. Ridwan Tinubu is a researcher par excellence. This is someone who has conducted researches on government policies and programs, and he has made recommendations to appropriate cadres. Tonight is going to be walking us through research, a key factor in emerging as an influencer. Happy listening.
Yeah, I think it's okay now. Well, let me say good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to use this opportunity to thank the organizers of this event for giving me the privilege to speak to you today. And the topic tag research a key factor, as an influencer or research, discovering an influencer or research as a means of, being a veritable influencer in society. Well, let me not bore with too much rhetorics. My name remains Tinubu Ayodich. I'm based in the United Kingdom. Okay, let me just go ahead by sharing the screen of the PowerPoint presentation that I'm making before you today. Let me start by hold on just few minutes. Let me start by introducing the event once again. Value Added Leadership Development Center presents EMERGE 2020. Theme is an idea about, and the topic before me is research, a key factor in emerging as an influencer. My name remains Relevant Tinubu. I am based in the United Kingdom. Uh, my discussion today will be both theoretical and practical analysis. So let me just go by saying that the purpose of the theoretical analysis is just to open more frontiers to the world of uh, world of uh, research. For many of us who want to go into research about what research is and how can the research make an influencer. So let me start by reading. According to Wikipedia, research is a creative and systematic. Hold on, hold on. Okay, I think I should just start all over again. We are welcome to the Value Added events organized by Leadership Development Center, presenting to you in March 2020. The team idea about the topic before me, research, a key factor in emerging as an influencer. My name remains Relevant Tinubu, yours from the United Kingdom. The topic before me today, I have planned, will be on two, on two folds. These are the theoretical and the discussants, ways of sharing the ideas I have, that one can make do of in whatever ways I'm intend to use some of this information. Let me start by reading. According to Wikipedia, research is creative and systematic work undertaken to increase the stock of knowledge, including knowledge of humans, culture, and society, and the use of this stock of knowledge to devise new applications. According to Hampshire College Research Institute, research is a process of systematic inquiry that entails collection of data, documentation of critical information, and analysis and interpretation of that data or information in accordance with suitable methodologies set by specific professional field and academic discipline. Research is conducted to evaluate the validity of a hypothesis or an interpretative framework to assemble a body of substantive knowledge and findings for sharing them in appropriate manners and to generate questions for further inquiries. According to Cambridge Advanced Dictionary, a research is a detailed study of a subject, especially in order to discover new information or reach a new understanding. Social influence. Most discussion of social influence focus on social persuasion and compliance. In the context of influencer marketing, influencer is less about arguing for a point of view or production a product than about loose interpretation between parties in a community, often the aim of encouraging purchasing of behavior. Although influence is often equated with advocacy, it may also be negative. Influencer. There is a lack of consensus about what an influencer is. One writer defines them as a range of third parties who exercise influence over the organization and its potential customers. Another defines an influencer as a third party who significantly shapes the customer's purchasing decision but may never be accountable for it. According to another influencer, another influencers are well connected, create an impact, have active mind and are trendsetters. And just because an individual has many followers does not necessarily mean they have much influence over those individuals that only that they have many followers. Identifying influencers. Market research techniques can be used to identify influencers using predefined criteria to determine the extent and type of influence. Activists get involved with organizations such as their communities, political movements, and charities. Connected influencers have large social network. Authoritative influencers are trusted by others. Active minds have a diverse range of interests. Trendsetters are the early adopters or leaders of markets. According to Malcolm Gladwell, the success of any kind of social epidemic is heavily dependent on the movement of people with a particular and rare set of social gifts. He has identified three types of influencers who are responsible for the generation, communication, and adoption of messages, namely connectors network with a variety of people, have a wide reach, and are essential to word of mouth communication. The other is Marvin's use of increase information, use information, use information, share it with others, and are insightful about trends. Salesmen are charismatic persuaders. Their influence is the tendency of others to intimidate their behavior. Categorizing influencers. Most current information about influencers focuses on customer rather than business to business markets. Word of mouth communication is prevalent in a customer environment in business marketing. Influencers affect the sale but are typically eliminated from the purchase decision. Consultants, analysts, journalists, academics, regulators and standard bodies are examples of business influencers. Influencers may be categorized by the number of followers they have on social media. They include the outside celebrities with large followers or following the internet and the internet celebrities on social media platforms such as YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Their followers range in number from hundreds to millions to 1,000 influencers may be categorized in tiers mega, micro, and nano influencer based on their numbers of followers. An influencer as a leader. Identifying an influencer In identifying an influencer, we must first accept them as leaders in their own right using the following factors. One is a national imperative, which is a policy decision in response to external challenges that have influenced leadership. Innovation, investment, and technology development mechanism that facilitates the transition from fundamental discovery to technological applications. Scientific culture, underlying behaviors, and ways of conducting research that foster leadership. Major facility centers and instrumentation. the physical infrastructure and material for conducting research, human resources, funding. Well, I think we have come, to the end of the first, part of the discussion for, today's topic, which remains research, the key factor in emerging as an influencer. Well, from the above theoretical, discourse about research, social influence and influencer, the aim is to, open frontiers of knowledge on what the research is, and what are those factors that one could actually consider, for somebody to be regarded as an influencer, and also for the, young people who are actually coming up. And what are those things that we need to understand, if we intend to be an influencer, whether in the political arena, the social arena, the cultural arena, or any, sphere of human, environment that we intend to influence one another. One thing we must accept is that, for us to, understand who an influencer is, we must be able to agree that, whether, good or bad, whether negative or positive, an influencer must, impact his or her own, immediate environment, by adding value or using such values, as we have had, in many climes, events around the world, and so many things that we may talk of. But then, it is important, and it is imperative for us to know that, an influencer, is also a leader, in his own right, whether we like it or not, whether if you, whatever way so and manner you influence people, the moment they see you, they see you as a role model, and the moment they see you as a role model, they already accept the fact, that, you are their leader at that time. Well, in coming to the discourse, when we say research, research is just a method of you gathering data, information, on whatever, subject matter that you may think, you find interesting. The major goal of, doing research, as we all know, is to come into conclusion about what should be or what ought to be, in whatever human living society that we have found ourselves. But then we must, be able to bring down to ourselves what are the importance of research. And that is one of the major questions that I'm going to be answering. Then also we look at, I mentioned, what is an influencer, and also who is an influencer, factors that one can actually consider, for somebody to be regarded as an influencer. But then, in this discussion section, I would enumerate majorly the important, uh, let me put it, important end point or end product, for somebody who is aiming to be an influencer in whatever, sphere of life that we may have found ourselves. Well, let me start by, I mentioned the word research. An influencer is not simply somebody, who gather information and put this information for public domain for consumption, and having consumed this thing, consume, such information to, whether negatively or, positively, shape, the frontier of knowledge of, the end point, and that is the person who consume, such information. Then, today we have seen that, so many people have floated the social media, different handle, the Twitter, the Instagram, the Telegram, the Facebook, the Snapchat, and today we are beginning to have, other discoveries, the Zoom, the these are other means of, social interaction on this, on the, on the media. But then we must, understand that, some of these ideas, came as a result of research through innovation and becoming technological advancements in which, human have adopted to ensure our day-to-day interaction, and some of these things. But then, an influencer, let me start by using Mark Zuckerberg as a typical example of who uh, an influencer is. Many years back, we actually uh, had what we call technological advancement, or let me put it like this: technological revolution around the world. Whereby it was enabled for anyone, wherever you find yourself, whatever location, we can interact easily, can share information, we can share knowledge, we can, even business people can actually do marketing. And some of these things, came as a result of the invention of Mark Zuckerberg, on Facebook. And as well, must have heard, Mark Zuckerberg at that time, was just a student, in one of the universities in the United States. And he came up with this idea. And today, if you all know that Facebook is now linked to all other social media platforms, we know, Instagram, WhatsApp. And we all heard about the transformation of the BlackBerry to the Android that we all use today. So, but then, all these things were made possible by Mark Zuckerberg because he adopted, modern ways of doing things. Uh, he developed, based on the information that has been gathered, that okay, how can we bring people, together from, all over the world, from across the globe, and anywhere you find us. Today, you will discover that even in the smallest village that has, internet connection in Nigeria, or anywhere in Gambia, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Egypt, anywhere, you name it, any island, see people going there, sharing information through Facebook, Instagram Live, and everything. And some of these things, question that ring bells, on our mind, on our heart, is that how did all these things come about? But then it is, as a matter of research. And going down to an influencer. An influencer is just that person, that dish out information, and that information, end up become, what is in vogue. Today we have seen many people, coming on the social media, sharing information about their lifestyle. Some will come share information about what they do. Some will come on here share information. Particularly even our politicians, all over the world have, made use of, the inventions, in our social media as a platform for them to actually communicate with people around the world. We all know today that any single tweet by Donald Trump will always attract the attention of the world, where everybody will begin to discuss about whatever he has said. Even political leaders in our own country, Nigeria, simply when they have to share information about, happenings around them, breaking news, and the likes, they come on the social, the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram pages, share this information, and all of this information go into the public domain. So, and the benefit of an influencer in the next 5 minutes that I'm going to be talking here. What are the benefits? Well, the benefits for one as an influencer is that you can go to places, people will reckon with you. You can actually make money from it if you do it, in the positive way. And so also an influencer can be that person that will be most respected in any human living society, or she will find, himself or herself. That the person will become what the lawyers will call the jurist. Today we know that in our own Nigeria, we know of the Tunde Ednots, the Omojuas, and the likes. And today, whatever they see on the media, people will always, adopt some of these things and share them to see how they can actually interact with one another. And whether we like it or not, these guys are making a whole lot of money, from being an influencer of, information. They facilitate, interactions, among people, companies, countries, and the likes. And the moment it just hits the ground, working, before you know anything, it does not begin to come your way. And these are some of the benefits, an influencer can actually attract. The influencer can also easily, become, what we know as a top politician today. The moment your information, or the information you dish out to the public, can actually shape people's opinion, and people will take you as their leader and, believe in you. And thereafter, whatever you say, becomes what they practice. And we have seen influencers, such as celebrities, who will come on here, share information about their lifestyle. Before you know anything, people are beginning to adopt such lifestyle. We have seen people organizing, their weddings in a unique way, birthdays, events, ceremonies, and the likes. When they bring all these things, to the forward of the media, and before you do anything, the next thing, I want to have my own party like that of his and join and the like. So, but the most important thing is, as an influencer, you have a lot of things to gain from it. You have a lot of information uh, to acquire. You have a lot of endorsements coming your way. You have a lot of partnership. People actually work down on you, seek for your assistance one way or the other for you to actually help them push information for public consumption. So in all this, an influencer, like I said, we can we just we would let's just say that an influencer is a leader in his or her own right. Today I'm dishing out this information to you because I've done my own research about what an influencer is. In my own right I'm an influencer. In your own right, as you are all seated, listening to this presentation, we are all influencers, and together we can actually make it happen. But one thing I quite advise many young people today, seeking to become influencers, to become leaders, to become businessmen and women, is for us to ensure that whatever we do, let us do it in a positive way, so that we can we can as well, in whatever way that we do all these things, create moral values, which has been decayed in every human society today. We have seen all sorts of things that people have actually used the media for, the social media platforms and the likes. But I'll advise that let us not go in that way. It's bad, it is not good. And let me say thank you for listening to my presentation. It may be short, it may be concise, it may be precise, but then because the platform we're actually making use, have a capacity that it can actually contain. And because of this, we'll not be able to go further. So I want to thank the organizers for giving me this privilege. I want to thank you for listening to this presentation. It will not be too perfect, but then I've tried as much as possible to manage, the time given to me. If time is given, I can talk all and begin to mention similar examples. But then, because of time factors, so I can allow, other presenters to do justice to the topic given to them. Let me say thank you and thank you. And God bless you. Thank you very much. Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.